Hello, and welcome to the Network and Communication Services breakout session. Smart Tech, Stronger Business, the network advantage for dealership owners. My name is Brenda Lynch, lead product marketer for the portfolio, and I'm excited to have you join us today. Today, we'll explore the evolving landscape of network technology and how it fits in at your dealership. We'll then shift our focus to voice solutions in our portfolio, sharing key insights we've gathered from dealers about voice communications and data usage. Our team will highlight how you can harness this data to drive efficiency and enhance customer experience. Next, we'll dive into the complex world of cybersecurity and networking and show how we can help simplify and secure your systems. We'll wrap up a look at what's ahead, followed by Q&A sessions. If you have questions during the presentation, please drop them in the chat. We'll do our best to address them at the end, time permitting. Now, I would like to introduce you to our speakers for this breakout session. Dave LaGreca, SVP, GM, Network and Communication Services. Rob Barton, AI Software Engineer, Cisco. Dave Tibbles, Principal Product Manager. Jeff Hartman, Lead Product Manager. And Marty Wakefield, Lead Sales Engineer. So let's get started as we move into the state of the industry with Dave and Rob. Thank you, Rob and Dave, for joining the exciting conversation of where AI is taking us in the network and cybersecurity space. Rob, I'd like to start with you. Cisco's recent study shows that 94% of IT leaders believe AI will have the greatest impact on networks within the next 2 years. Beyond that stat, what other AI-related trends is Cisco observing?
Yeah, great question, Brenda. And we are seeing AI dramatically change the IT industry and cybersecurity. And certainly we are seeing that revolution start now. And over the next 2 years, it's going to be dramatic. I think we've seen this change, especially since probably the last 18 months, where we moved away from just pure models that were very smart, like ChatGPT and Claude doing amazing things. We're now seeing them become part of full agentic systems. So this is models they're a brain, but now we're giving them arms and legs. They're able to go out there and they're able to touch different systems and accomplish things so much faster and with much more insight than a human could alone. And this is, I think, fundamentally changing the way that we operate networks. So we're looking at agentic ops really as this new phase of how people will manage security and manage their networks.
Great. And Dave, are you seeing this AI-driven network transformation starting to show up in dealerships?
We're seeing clear signs of AI-driven network transformation emerging in automotive dealerships. There's a growing awareness and expectation for AI across the dealership's operations. In fact, in a recent study, we found that 52% of dealer executives have considered incorporating AI solutions into their dealership's operations. And based on the data from the same study, growth of the AI market in the automotive sector is expected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of roughly 24%. And from a network perspective, the ongoing increase in bandwidth demand, driven by things like connected services and cloud applications, digital retailing, et cetera, and then combined with the increasing complexity of securing infrastructure, data in transit, and endpoints is also accelerating the need for AI-powered solutions.
And Rob, when we talk about AI and networking, what defines agentic network?
Yeah, so agentic networking and agentic ops is really this marriage of smart large language models with software agents that talk to the network and help to troubleshoot it, to automate it, to do different tasks. I'll give you a scenario. So imagine someone at a dealership is using Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams, one of these collaboration applications to talk to a customer or to another office, and suddenly it's slow. It doesn't work. How do you troubleshoot that? Is it really Zoom, or is it the internet, or is it the cloud, or is it the internal network? It's really hard to troubleshoot that kind of a thing. With agentic ops, you have smart agents that are talking to a model that's been trained, very, very specifically trained. And we're building these kind of models that can figure this out, can troubleshoot and reason through these complicated network problems, and hopefully get you back to working condition and resolved, within minutes, as opposed to potentially days. So that's what the magic of agentic ops is all about.
And Dave, how are agentic networks beginning to show up in dealership environments?
We're starting to see agentic networks show up in dealerships. I'd say wherein AI agents are being embedded directly into the network infrastructure. I guess early examples would include like configuration drift analysis and anomaly detection, followed by work towards bandwidth allocation, where we'll make sure cloud-based tools and digital retailing platforms are running smoothly even during peak usage times. And they're also strengthening the dealership security posture through identification of threats, protecting endpoints, and securing data in transit, like I mentioned, with a forward view of reduction in the need for manual intervention, like Rob just mentioned. And what's powerful is the opportunity for this increasingly dynamic set of rules that learn and adapt and make decisions on the fly to keep the network resilient and responsive. So that means critical applications like a dealership CRM or their DMS have increased reliability even as the complexity and demands of the network grow, which has continued for many years.
And then we're also hearing more about autonomous operations. What does that look like in the dealership settings, and what are the key benefits, Dave?
Autonomous network operations are increasingly implemented in automotive dealerships, mostly to streamline infrastructure management and the things I mentioned, and enhance cybersecurity and support AI-driven business functions, which are becoming more and more pervasive, like across all industries. And we're starting to see it show up in cloud-managed network infrastructure as a prime example, where dealerships are adopting cloud-managed networking platforms like Cisco Meraki to automate network configuration, monitoring, and security across multiple locations. Also, AI-driven predictive maintenance for the health of the network. Similar to what I mentioned earlier, integrated security automation, and lastly, but kind of fundamentally, support for AI-driven applications. Autonomous networks are foundational for enabling AI tools, which, like I mentioned, are becoming more pervasive and improving dealerships' ability to respond to and meet the needs of their customers.
And Rob, in the AI landscape, we hear terms like natural learning, machine learning, and deep learning. How does this come into play for the future of networks?
Yeah, so these are very important technologies, Brenda. So natural language, that's what we do with ChatGPT. Machine learning, it's a very, I think, now becoming a mature science, and we're seeing it used to train these big models. And deep learning, it's really the foundation of all modern generative AI. So models are called the transformer these days. And the transformer is made up of neural networks and deep learning. It lets us scale to billions and trillions of parameters to do amazing things, both autonomous as agentic systems, as language systems, and these kinds of things. And these are useful even at local networks. Even in a dealership, you can put a small language model that's very good at answering questions and helping with these kind of problems. That's all because of these technologies coming together, and they're the foundation of the future. They're not just what we're going to use today, but this is the future for decades, that we're going to be using these technologies. And Cisco's pioneering a lot of this work in building both the models, helping customers bring them on-prem and put them into their IT network so they can use them and leverage them to the full advantage.
Great. And speaking of the future, so what is Cisco's broader outlook on AI and its role in shaping network infrastructure?
Yeah, I think we're at a real inflection point. AI is changing certainly our business, but we see it changing our customers' business as well. People often say if you're not using and embracing AI, you risk becoming irrelevant. And I think we're taking that very seriously. It is changing everything from the way we build our products to the way that our customers are operating them. So our focus in engineering is, let's build the best AI products for our customers and really unlock those capabilities. It's going to change the way we operate things, protect things, we interact with things. So that is what we're really shaping our company to be.
That's fantastic. And Dave, from CDK's perspective and in collaboration with Cisco, how do you see AI shaping the future of dealership technology?
As a Cisco Gold partner, we're leveraging our partnership to implement and evolve AI-powered networks and their continually increasing value to the industry for the reasons we spoke about earlier. And we'll continue to partner with Cisco to optimize the customer's network and protect dealerships from evolving threats while simplifying the required management oversight so our customers can focus on their core competencies of selling and servicing vehicles.
Well, Dave and Rob, appreciate the conversation on AI. It looks like it's here to stay, and let's help the dealers get it implemented and move forward. Thank you so much. Marty, since you're regularly out in the field and in close contact with our dealers, could you share some insights on what you're hearing from them?
Absolutely. Thanks, Brenda. Jeff, when it comes to voice, I'm in conversation with dealers every week. Dealers that have every spectrum of the phone system. They have phone systems that are old, antiquated. They have phone systems that are new, maybe cloud-based, maybe on-prem. They may have all the data. The data may be in analytics. It may be in call logs. It may be integrated with all the new bells and whistles. That's not part of the problem. What part of the problem is for the dealers is, and this is a resounding problem throughout the industry, no matter whether they're big, small, medium-sized, doesn't matter. What we're hearing from the dealers is we've got the data, or maybe we don't have the data. We don't know, but we don't know how to analyze the data. We don't know how to dig into the data and make it actionable information that is productive and leads to whether it be sales, service, or continued customer service for our dealers. So are you hearing the same things? Is there something that CDK is doing that will help these dealers?
Absolutely, Marty. This is a common theme. The dealers often feel like the phone system's a black hole, and they're not sure what's happening inside that phone system. Things like call flow. Is it set up correctly? Is the call flow frustrating customers? They might have had fewer calls into service last month. But is that actually true? Is it more or less in the same time last year? Or are there trends that need to be assessed? How would you know on Saturday that you got 200 calls into sales, but 15 of those calls were on a vehicle that's been on the lot for over 90 days? Was something being said on those calls that was causing people not to come in and look at that vehicle? So we're constantly being asked how to get more visibility in the phone system. And they want it, dealers want it in a way that will actually drive business. Most phone systems will typically provide baseline analytics. These are discrete data points. Things like calling numbers, the time and date of the call, the length of the call. But it's shown in a tabular grid-like format, and it really lacks any observations about the customer journey. The burden is on the user to interpret and make any kind of meaningful insights about that data. And then generally that means you download the data, you massage it, you manipulate it, you put it in a spreadsheet, and you try to figure out what matters most to you. I was talking to a dealer recently that was spending hours sorting through phone system data. They'd gotten an unusually high number of calls into sales, but they hardly booked any appointments. Why was that? They were trying to figure it out. They looked over the call logs. They made sure calls were getting answered. They sampled call recordings, but they simply didn't have enough time to comb through all that data. CDK, through our understanding of dealership operations and continuous feedback from our dealers, created a product to address that. It's called Voice Connect Analytics, or sometimes referred to as VCA. And Voice Connect Analytics turns the phone system conversations into intelligence about the business. We worked really hard on burden management with this product. For example, we don't rely on the user to stitch pieces of a call together to try to understand the flow. As a call comes in, it might come into the receptionist, it might get transferred to sales, perhaps it went to parts, came back to the receptionist. But VCA is unique from other products in that we show a full customer journey inside of a single log entry. And it gives you a full story about that customer experience. And a second way that we're making things easier is with tools like ready-to-run reports. Phone systems generally have reports, but they're ubiquitous, they're generic, they're designed for every industry. We have reports and metrics and views that are created specifically for dealerships. And we also provide call transcriptions, but instead of needing to read the whole conversation to see the context, We also provide AI summaries of those conversations. And these are brief synopsises of the entire call that you can read and understand what was said on that call within just a few seconds. And then 2 new features we just released at the specific request of dealers is notifications and keyword searching. A dealer can set up alerts, and they can be informed if there's abnormalities or thresholds that have been breached. And some examples of that would be unanswered calls. Right? Has my receptionist missed 3 calls within the last 20 minutes? You could be alerted if pricing objections are raised on a call, or maybe even perhaps you want to be notified if a certain competitor name's mentioned. So to answer your question, Marty, yes, we have a tool. It's called Voice Connect Analytics. It's extremely powerful. It's specifically designed for this vertical. It delivers insights that help run the business, things like coaching staff, following up with customers faster, or just ensuring customer interactions are at a level that they should be. And we made it simple, and we made it quick, and we made it easy to use. And it doesn't stop there. We continue to develop this product directly based on dealer feedback about what's going to be most impactful for dealers. And we have lots more in the coming year, Marty, so stay tuned for more.
That's awesome. Sounds like what you're doing is, with automation, you're alleviating the need for IT staffs to increase staffing, work longer hours, which, is not always the answer to every question. So you're making it easier for the dealer to have actionable competitive intelligence from the phone system that's going to make them either more profitable or better in line with what their customers' needs are and what the customer journey is, so that they can deliver for their customers.
Absolutely.
On another note, what I'd like to do is talk to Mr. Tibbles about cybersecurity and networking. So one of the things that we talk about when it comes to the network and cybersecurity with dealers, Dave, is what they're doing in the network space and what's going on in the dealerships. And what we're seeing is there's varied devices and almost no standards, depending on, whether it comes to switches, wireless access points, PCs, etc. It doesn't matter. We see a little bit of anything and everything in the dealerships, and it causes, a lot of overhead, a lot of work, and a lot of chasing your tail in some cases for the dealers and the IT staff. So are you seeing the same thing in your space, and can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, Marty. So what we see is, in many organizations, IT systems can unnecessarily grow. Over the years, a dealer might add servers, network equipment, like you said, access points, switches, routers, applications, databases, and tools, and oftentimes they have little integration between them. So the result is complexity, inefficiency, higher costs, and when these systems are complicated, a dealer will spend more time troubleshooting than modernizing and innovating. So simplification means consolidating these things, consolidating tools and systems and devices, and removing the unnecessary clutter. And the payoff to the dealer is agility. Dealers and their technology partners can respond faster to opportunities. Security risks, right, are easier to manage, and the whole organization just runs smoother. In short, complexity equals more productivity.
So with that said, Dave, there's, you've got a multitude of devices. You've got multiple vendors that don't really communicate with each other, and that complexity is a real thing, right? So what does that mean for the dealer? Do they need to add more staff to adjust to this, new environment where everything is out there, but nobody's really talking to each other? Left hand's not talking to the right hand, whatever the case may be.
Adding staff, that's certainly one solution, but hiring, training, retaining a full house IT team can be expensive and honestly unrealistic for many businesses. And what we see is that technology is changing too fast for a small group of associates to cover every single specialty that's out there. And that's where managed IT comes in, by partnering with experts. A dealer can gain access to a full team of specialists who monitor, support, and optimize their systems around the clock. And the result here means less downtime. Think about it, fewer disruptions, potentially proactive problem solving, solving problems before they even know there's an issue. The real value is focus, right? So a dealer's employees can spend their energy on what drives growth, and IT management is handled by the professionals.
And that certainly makes sense. Now, let's talk a little bit about the cloud, right? Everything's moving to the cloud, whether it be software, hardware, services, just vendor interactions. Why should the dealers be concerned, and what should they do to adjust to the movement to the cloud?
The cloud's more than a buzzword. If we think about it, it's a fundamental shift now in how businesses operate. And we see dealers using the cloud in a bunch of different ways. But they largely focus on using it for immediate access to computing power or storage, and certainly applications. For CDK, we also see it being used as a mechanism for us to operate dealers' network and their IT infrastructure. The cloud enables flexibility, if you will. So teams can securely access systems and data from anywhere. And it's crucial in today's hybrid work environments, if you think about it. And also, one of the things when disaster strikes, a power outage, a flood, a cyber attack, these things create a need for instant response, and cloud services provide, kind of that reliable backup and recovery that could mean the difference between hours of downtime and business as usual.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense, especially when you talk about natural disasters. So, another thought, anything else that CDK is working on that can help the dealers?
Yeah. So, as we think about the conditions in the market that you and I just outlined, CDK sought out a year ago to make a difference with its new product development. And so today we're announcing our new network service platform. It offers a new SD-WAN product that allows the dealers to leverage their diverse connectivity options to the internet so that they can reliably connect to private applications like the DMS, but also their business critical non-DMS application. And the beauty of this platform is that it's coupled with and integrates to a cloud-delivered advanced firewall solution called Network Shield. If you noticed, I said cloud-delivered, right? So there's no hardware involved with this firewall solution, and it has all the features you'd expect with an on-prem firewall. If you think about intrusion detection and prevention, things like malware protection, secure web gateway, traffic decryption, SOC monitoring, and even secure remote access. So the solution uses an agent, and the agent provides all these features. And as such, when one of your employees is using a corporate device, those security policies follow them wherever they might go.
That's perfect. What is there anything else the platform does for the dealer that they can take advantage of?
So the hallmark of the platform, Marty, is visibility. Right? It's so important for the dealer. And with these solutions, they can use simplified reports and graphics to ensure that the product is working on their behalf. And that's vital, right, for them. They can see their bandwidth and how it's being used. They can see which apps are being used, what websites are being visited the most, and they can understand how their security policies are protecting their dealership. And all of this, of course, is backed by CDK managed service offering, where we completely support the product. We do the break fix troubleshooting. We update the minimal amount of devices that are required for the solution on a regular basis. We manage them. We do the moves, adds, and changes as needed by the dealer so that they really have one less headache. And in the happenstance that one of the devices should fail, we replace it immediately. So in sum, Marty, as we think about these new offerings, and you and I talked about simplified equipment, right? Check. It's a pair of simple devices that help the dealer with that consistent and efficient internet connectivity. You and I talked about management or managed solutions. Check. I just mentioned these solutions are fully managed and monitored by CDK. And then lastly, we talked about leveraging the cloud and how important that is. Check. Right. These solutions are operated and maintained using cloud controllers.
So what I'm hearing, Dave, is you're reducing the physical footprint in the dealership, right? There's less hardware to manage, which is at times can be a headache for IT staff. So as that moves to the cloud, less hardware to get in the way or cause problems. Much more visibility, because if it's in the cloud, it can be accessed from anywhere. You don't have to be on-prem. You can manage it from anywhere. I think you talked about the security of it, being able to follow the user wherever they may be. So we're hitting a lot of home runs for the dealers. So it's again going to resonate with them, and it's going to do everything that we expect and deliver for the customers, and make the dealers even better stewards for their customers as well. So appreciate the insight, and it's gonna be a bright future for that product line. And at this point, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Mr. Dave LaGreca for some closing comments.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time and engagement. As you heard from our speakers, CDK offers dealers modern and secure network and communication solutions designed to maximize the value of technology while minimizing the burden and cost of managing it. At CDK, we deliver these solutions with the strength of an expert team, backed by over 25 years of proven experience at operational scale. As the technology landscape continues to evolve, so does CDK. We remain committed to delivering practical, state-of-the-art solutions like the new products introduced by our product leaders and the AI-powered networks highlighted in my conversation with Rob. We're constantly adapting to meet the changing needs of our dealer customers and helping them stay ahead. Thanks again for being part of today's event. We look forward to continuing the conversation and supporting your success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and all of today's presenters, and to our dealers for giving us time to share what the team's been working on. If you're heading to NADA in 2026, swing by and check out what else we've got going on. And we're excited to share a new opportunity. CDK Connect Live is coming next May to Nashville, featuring a brand new dedicated IT track. Now, let's move to Q&A. We have some questions that have already come through during our presentation. So Jeff, I will start with you. At my store, if I want to listen to a customer call, I have to jump between systems and dig through different folders to find the right recording. Will I be able to listen to calls directly in the CRM with CDK?
Right, Brenda, that's a challenge that has been expressed to us by many dealers. We currently provide call recordings in our Voice Connect application, but beginning this quarter, we'll also make available those call recordings in our WebEx Control Hub, and that's the administrative interface for the phone system. But additionally, this quarter, we're going to provide a link right within the customer record of CRM under the specific call or task log. And it's going to make it very quick and easy to open that specific recording in Voice Connect Analytics. And simultaneously with that, or very shortly thereafter, we're going to embed that call recording also directly inside of CRM. So we'll have it available 3 places. We'll have it inside of Voice Connect, we'll have it inside of Voice Connect Analytics, and certainly inside of CRM. And we're going to continue the theme going forward of extending and making communications information available in the application that you're currently using, and make it very seamlessly accessible.
That's awesome. Thanks, Jeff. One more question for you as well that came through. If a customer calls a few times or gets bounced around between departments, do I have to go hunt down each call separately, or can I see the whole conversation flow in one place?
Right. I had mentioned this during the presentation. Seeing a customer journey as it moves through out of a dealership is it can be a real challenge. viewing each of those individual call legs and trying to interpret how that customer's journey presented itself. CDK is unique in that we continually monitor call legs as they come in on the phone system. And we take those, we order them, and we stack them underneath the originating call. So it gives you a cohesive view that makes it easy to see a complete picture of that call as it traverses the dealership.
Great, thank you. Dave Tibbles, I have a question for you. You mentioned 2 new products, the Cloud Connect and Network Shield. When is it available for dealers?
Brenda, thank you for that. Those products are available for sale now. So the new Cloud Connect offer that we reviewed, as well as the Network Shield piece, which, if you recall, is that advanced firewall. They're both available.
Fantastic. And Marty, I understand you were recently on site for an install. Can you let the dealers know what the process looks like for them?
Yeah, thanks, Brenda. The communication process starts almost immediately. Once we get the contracted items through the paperwork process, our install team reaches out to the dealer to get some initial data gathering, some information from the dealer, and then we start the process of figuring out what's the best time. Knowing the dealership world, we're aware of things like end of the month processing, dates that may be critical for the customer not to touch. There are products like Dave mentioned with the SD-WAN product and Network Shield that require a lot of information on what they want to block, what they want to allow. So that data gathering has to start as soon as possible so that we can meet the needs of the dealer and we can deploy as quickly as possible. We can move fast, but we want to be very aware of what the dealer's needs are. So we work together to come up with what the best plan is, if that's pre-staging equipment and, as they call it, racking and stacking of equipment days before or the day of, so that the conversion happens quickly. Testing can happen quickly. Some cuts require during business hours, if we're talking about phone solutions like Jeff spoke about. If we can do after hours, we also accommodate that as well. We want to be good stewards with the customer's time as well as ours and make sure that all the necessary resources are available. But we do as much pre-work as possible, so when we get to the point of implementation, we're ready to roll and we're ready to make it as quick as possible. So like I said, the communication starts within a couple of days after signing a contract, and we move as quickly as we can, being conscious of what the customer's needs are and if there's any dates that we need to avoid.
Great. Thank you, Marty. So Dave Tibbles, one more I have as well. So you mentioned SD-WAN and cloud services. Is that what all you're focused on? What else do you have in the portfolio?
Yeah, no, we're not. Like we talked about in the presentation, and how we feel that managed services can really help a dealer. We have a variety of different solutions that can help a managed desktop and server solution. We can also help secure dealer users through managed directory services that we have in the marketplace. A couple things that maybe compliance or certainly cybersecurity related are multi-factor authentication, that we have a managed service that can help bolster their user security, along with vulnerability scanning services. A lot of dealers choose to do penetration scanning a couple times a year, and we can help with that through that service. So,
and we also have a product called Dealer Comply as well for our compliance help as well.
Yeah, compliance is still vital to the dealerships. Think about FTC data compliance. We've got a tool set that we can offer that can allow the dealer to do self-assessment of their compliance, as well as a vendor assessment of their vendors. Pretty important. They can also create and store their data policies and other policies to, in the eventuality that they get audited, they can show their due diligence. The facility also has a feature where they can do security awareness training and testing of their users as required by laws too. So, and on top of that, we can, for dealers that sign up this quarter, we're running a promotion where they can get a free dark web report through the end of December. So dealer comply is a big product for us as well.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Dave. Jeff, another one came in for you. I've been hearing a lot about AI features in phone systems lately. What kind of AI capabilities does Voice Connect offer? And then can it actually help me understand what's happening on calls or improve team performance?
Yeah. I mean, we've got lots of AI features that we're currently rolling out that we have on the near-term roadmap. A few would be things like keyword notification. So being able to add a word or phrase into the system and be notified when that is said on a phone call. And that could be competitor names being mentioned. It could be pricing objections, just pretty much any term you're interested in tracking. Also this quarter, we're implementing full transcriptions and AI summarizations of all the calls in the dealership. So that's going to eliminate the need to listen to individual call recordings and all the time it takes to review those and scrub through them, trying to find what it is you're looking for. And in 2026, we're going to provide the ability to query those transcriptions using natural language. So you can ask questions of the system to gain insights. It would be things like which calls pertain to 60,000 mile service appointments yesterday, or with the addition of sentiment analysis we're implementing, you could ask the system, show me unhappy sales customers from last week. But we're being very thoughtful as we introduce AI. We're being laser focused on features and functionality and prioritizing those features and functionality based upon the dealer feedback on what's going to impact their dealerships most significantly. And those really are centered around things that will drive revenue and affect positive incomes or outcomes.
Great. And sticking with the AI questions, there's another one, but this one's for you, Dave Tibbles. You mentioned AI network operations with features like anomaly detection. How will CDK use AI to improve network performance and reliability at my dealership?
Yeah, so pretty big topic that is not just industry-wide, but obviously we covered at the outset of this presentation. And CDK is working with our partner Cisco to test out all these features as they become available, and we'll roll them out certainly in the upcoming year. But if you can imagine, that anomaly detection is something that sees the changes, like Dave and Rob talked about, sees the changes in the network KPIs, KPIs like latency, loss jitter, and even leveraging some of the utilization thresholds that are out there. And so what it could do is alert our support team to engage, right? And the support person can then use an assistant to pull logs and perform, the testing required to determine the cause of the anomaly. And in addition, they can look at, the configuration and how it might have drifted from the baseline over time to see if that was the cause, or if it was just underlying network condition. And the really super impactful thing for the dealer is that that it can detect these changes before it causes a problem, and that's what we're pretty keen on. And then as this technology progresses, we may get to a point where certain items can happen automatically with the use or the help of agentic AI. So these AI agents that are out there, for example, can not just detect the anomalies that we talked about, but in the future they could respond without human intervention, and really allowing our dealers to build further resiliency into their networks.
Great, thank you. I do not see any more questions in the Q&A, so that wraps up our Q&A session. On behalf of the Network and Communication Services team and everyone at CDK, thank you to our dealer partners for joining us today. We appreciate your time and interest in learning more about how we are advancing technology and innovation to support your dealerships so you can stay focused on what matters most, selling and repairing vehicles. If you have any questions about the products and information shared today, please reach out to your sales rep or sales engineer. Wishing you all a fantastic day.